we've all done that, some of us more than others, and today's video is all about trying to explain to you why that happens. Because the more that happens, the more it creates a lot of more nervous tension, and it continues to happen. Most of you who have experienced a lot of that probably feel more comfortable putting from further away from the hole, and we'll get to the bottom of that as well today. So let's have a closer look using all the technology we've got in the studio and see if we can help you out with these short ones and make your game more solid for next year. So let's have a look at the 3 quantifiable reasons why we may miss a putt from 3 feet. Number 1 there, the club path. This is the hole putter head that may be travelling too far to the left or right of the hole. When we talk about full swings, we often use the phrases out to in or in to out swing paths, and the same applies to putters. Second reason, the club face. So independent of the movement of the head, the face of the club may be pointing too open or too closed at the point of impact, which we could reasonably expect to have an effect on the ball and make you miss the putt. And thirdly, the speed, either too fast or too slow. Now, we don't need a lot of technology to work out if this is the reason. Too fast, it just goes straight over the middle of the hole, and too slow, it never gets to the hole, and we've all done that. As Peter Alice famously said, the vast majority of putts that don't get to the hole don't go in. So in this video we're going to drill down into the first 2 reasons there, the path and the face, and try and explain and find out which one of those is the most important reason for us missing putts, and then give you some idea how to put it right going forward. Doing all the hard work for us in the studio to capture the data is our Sam Putlab, a German designed bit of kit, very impressive. And the first thing we have to do is set a laser line to the centre of the hole, and once we've done that we can then position our club on that line and calibrate it, and this means that afterwards we can trust that all the results are in keeping with the centre line of the hole. So before we go ahead and look at the results of our experiments and bring you those, let's just quickly have a look at what we might reasonably expect as a set of results here, and what we think might be achievable. Let's manage our expectations. This page here I've taken from the PGA Tour website, and you can see for the 2020 season the average putting from 3 feet for across the whole tour was 99.44%, so they're going to miss 1 in every 200 attempts approximately. Interestingly, you have to get down to the 21st guy on the list before he missed 1 at all in the whole season. And even the guy who's bottom of the list, that happens to be Shane Lowry, still recorded 98.05% from 3 feet throughout the whole season. When we look at the same stats from 6 feet from last season from the PGA Tour, we can see that the tour average has dropped off to 70%. That's a 30% drop off here. And it's not as if that same putting stroke that was so successful from 3 feet has suddenly deteriorated. It's purely a law of physics in that the contour on the green and the speed of the putt has now become a much more important factor in holding that putt. From 3 feet, the size of the ball compared to the hole means that borrow is almost irrelevant in the vast majority of cases. And if we can get good from 3 feet, then that's going to take a lot of pressure off our long putting and chipping, which will obviously feel good on the golf course. So I think we've got a realistic opportunity here to set our target at 100%. There are a lot of things that the Tour pros can do that we can't with the drivers and irons in their hands, I'll agree with that, but putting a ball along the ground from 3 feet towards the hole, I think we've all got the skill set to get pretty good at that. So let's set a target that we're not going to miss one next season. So this is a copy of a screenshot that we get from Putlab, and I just want to get you familiar with how it looks because we'll be seeing a few of these. Obviously this took me ages to get this result actually, with a 0 path and a 0 face, but you can see the top 2 graphics there. The ball is being putted from right to left in this case. The top half of the screen shows the face angle at impact, open or closed, and the bottom one shows the path of the club at impact as well. And that obviously in a perfect world is how we'd all putt. And you can see, I want you to look at the bottom 3 bars there, the ball direction. That's really key. That the grey shaded area is basically the width of the hole. So that is showing that that ball would obviously set off directly in the centre of the hole. As I say, it's impossible to get those numbers. That took me about 20 minutes of experimenting and using a putting aid to try and get 0 results across the board. And because it measures to 1/10 of a degree, we wouldn't expect that to be the case every time. There's going to be some human variation, but the results that are coming up will show you how much we can tolerate before we start missing the target. So let's show you again now that putt I made in my intro where the ball missed the hole violently to the right, and let's have a look at the results of that one. If you're squeamish, now's a good time to look away. Oh, there we go. Missed miles on the right. So here are the results from Sam Putlab for that exact stroke. And we can see, just have a quick look there, in the top half of the screen we can see that at the point of impact the club face was 7.1 degrees pointing to the right, or open. The path at impact was less than 1 degree off perfect, so it was just fractionally left. And look at the ball direction bar at the very bottom there. You can see that the ball is set off nowhere near the hole. Obviously that's why it missed on the video footage there. So over the next few slides we're going to be looking at what happens when we vary the path and the face, and at the end of that we'll be left in no doubt as to which one of those factors makes us miss most of these short putts. So our first test was to create a putt that had an absolutely perfect path of the club head, where the club face was just left a fraction open, 1.8 degrees. And here you can see the results down at the bottom and the ball direction chart. You can see that even that very marginal error with the club face, which would be imperceptible almost in your hands and to your eye, has meant that the ball has started outside the width of the hole. So that putt has been missed, even though that putting stroke would look good because it's got a fantastic path through to the middle of the hole, but the club face has been left fractionally open and that ball is going to miss the hole. Interesting. Let's have a look at the one the other way round. Okay, so with this putt, this is the closest we could recreate to a square face in the top, 0.7, but you can see the path through the ball with the putter head was 8.7 degrees to the left, so vastly out to in. Those of you of a certain age may remember a putter called, or a player called Billy Mayfair, who used to have the look of someone who was sliding or cutting or slicing all his putts into the hole, and this is what this stroke felt like. So the path of the club head was miles left of the hole, but the face was pretty square to the hole, within 1 degree of pointing at the middle of the hole. And you can see by the ball direction bar at the bottom that that ball has set off inside the bounds of the hole, just so that ball would have fallen in on the left hand side of the hole. So I think this quite categorically clears up any debate as to what causes bad short putting. The path can be quite a way out from square, I mean in this case up to nearly 9 degrees, but the putter face, once it was 1.8 degrees out, the ball was missing the hole. So really we've got to focus all of our efforts on controlling the putter face to achieve more success at these 3-foot putts. And that's actually no different to the long game. All errors of long game that cost you a lot of shots or hit the ball out of bounds are because we have poor control of the club face at impact. The effect of a poor path is nowhere near enough to ruin our game of golf. So how are we going to make it better? Well, this is the simplest and most effective drill that I've ever found, and I want to share it with you. Put 2 of your middle irons down on the floor there, and make sure your putting stroke works between the 2 shafts. When you finish your stroke, and I want your stroke to have a definite end to it, don't just keep going on with the putter head, stop and look at your putter face to see if it's still square between the 2 shafts. If you need something to aim at, put a coffee cup or something down 3 feet away. In this example here you can see this is a poor one. As the putter goes through the ball you'll see the putter head travelling to the right of the hole and the club face was open. So you get instant feedback that the ball will hit the shaft about 3/4 of the way along, and the putter head does not stay in the tracks of the 2 shafts. Similarly with the next one, this one's going to head left, so decent looking backstroke, but the path of the club heads left of the target and the club face is closed. The ball would have missed the hole because it hits the shaft halfway down. And in this final one, we can see it all working together really well. These are two 7-irons, that's exactly 3 foot long in case you're interested. The stroke goes back and through down the shafts, and the face stays pointing at the middle of the hole, giving the ball absolutely no option but to go in the centre of the hole. Well, holing out from 3 feet, as we all know, is a really important part of the game, and I'm sure that drill's really going to help you. But if you want to come to the studio, this is what we're here for. We can set up the putt to any length up to 13 feet to see how well your stroke stands up. And you can see from the video here that the results of SamLab are instant. After every shot on the big screen, you get all the results we need to see if you're heading in the right direction. So please feel free to come along this winter, and it might be the best time you've ever spent on your game. Okay, well, I hope this video has helped you understand why we all miss 3 foot putts. Obviously, we've got the SamLab in the studio here, so try the drills out at home, especially over this winter period, ready for next season. But if you want to come to the studio and have an hour on the Putlab to really get to the bottom of why you might be missing them, then please give us a call in the shop, and Harry and I will be very pleased to give you a session. Okay, take care and bye for now.